Welcome everyone to Health Coach TV. I'm your host, Dr. Shaunna Menard, and I am so excited for you to hear from our special guest. Hi, Mary, how are you?
Hi, Shaunna.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to invite those of you who are out there suffering with chronic pain. Maybe you have tried everything. You have tried surgeries or pills or lotions or potions or techniques, and you are at your wit's end, and maybe you're thinking you got to give up hope. I want you to hang in there for this episode. You are not going to want to miss this. Let me give our expert guest a great introduction. Mary McCrae is often known as Miracle Mary. She has some magic hands too, by the way. And she has developed a unique program called Unwind My Pain. And this program is the secret recipe for discovering why your body is backfiring on you and how to eliminate the pain cycle. And it's actually a cycle, and how to maintain a healthy body without being dependent on therapists or things, and including her. And so she has an extensive background. She's a licensed massage therapist, a QiGong practitioner, a certified health coach and yoga teacher. She's an activated, isolated stretching expert and an expert in movement therapist. She's got a ton of strategies and tools in her toolkit, but she's going to talk to you about a way to bridge all of those together. And she believes that when we give ourselves a pain-free life, we can make great things happen. So welcome, Mary. It's great to have you.
Hi, Dr. Shaunna. Good to be here.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit, like, what is it that you do? What do you do? How do you help people?
I help people unwind their pain so that they can enjoy their life again. How many times do people, oh, maybe I won't go do this because they're in some pain, and just to forget the excuses. And
and when you're in pain, it halts your entire life. You can't do the fun things. You can't do the work you want to do. You can't have the relationships you want to have. You can't do the hobbies or activities that you want to do. So it's one of those things that's in your face, and it's wherever you go, you can't get around it. So although we can unwind it. So what had you, tell us a little bit about, you, Mary, how did you get into this line of work of helping people unwind their pain?
Being an athlete, I was gifted with having some really talented massage therapists work on me, and later in life, some not so talented, and realizing the difference. And so at first I thought, oh, great, through my life, get certified in massage. And after that, I was like, is that all there is? And it wasn't until I started studying brain-body connection, active isolated stretching, that it was like this whole big puzzle piece coming together, and really understanding how the entire body works: muscles, bones, fascia, lymphatic system. So the whole big picture, and how effective you can be if you know all of those things.
Yeah. And you yourself, as I think a lot of us in the healing arts, science, both, we often give to others, and often, or sometimes at least, at the detriment to ourselves. We kind of sacrifice our own health in the service of others. And that was your story for sure. And but in a way it was a good thing, because that opened you up to all of those, these other healing modalities, and allowed you to dive even deeper to say, you know what, this is great, but there's more, and sometimes more is what's required. So, if people are out of pain and don't have pain, great, keep doing what you're doing. But if you're in pain, and you're like, what else can I do? There are some things. What was some of the, as a therapist, and with all of these different modalities that you're an expert in, you had access to a lot of these tools. What was it that you would say is what had you, it was your own health challenges that had you go to the next level, because you're like, I got to go deep in here. But what on the other side of that, what was something that you would say is what you learned from that about why people have pain, and or what's preventing or holding them back from getting outside of it?
Yeah, and another really, really important thing is to look at the whole person holistically. somebody who may not have a knee problem, back problem, why do they have pain, and why are they holding things in their tissues? Like, what things make us hold pain in our tissues, and how to go about releasing that.
Yeah, I think that's not something that a lot of people address. Like, you go in, you get a massage, you get, some movement, you get a pill, you get something, but not a lot of people unwind it back to the root and look at, like, I think there's a saying, the issues are in the tissues. And so once you really kind of unearth that, then that's, I think, where you're really seeing such tremendous results with your clients that they just weren't seeing anywhere else with anything else. And I think you once said, with the work you're doing now, you're like taking all of these different modalities that you've learned over the years with your clients and with yourself, and really infused all that wisdom, ancient wisdom, some like ancient healing techniques too, into this, single, system that can save them time and money, really, in and just actually deliver the results. So I think that's awesome. Tell us more about that, I think, and tell us more about, like, you mentioned the lymphatic system and different things. What are some of the other things that, people are looking at their muscles? Okay, I got a tight muscle or something. What are some of the other body systems or things when somebody's in pain? What does that mean, and how can they get out of it? Tell us a little bit more about how you would look at this holistically.
Yeah, holistically, you would want to bring into, well, what am I putting in my body?
Mhm.
Why am I achy? Some of it has to do with, acidity versus alkalinity in the body, and what foods are that way. And traditionally, when people think of acidic, they're like, oh, tomato sauce and orange juice, and as long as I keep that out. But it really doesn't have anything to do with that. It's much more than that, but it also can be broken down very simply. So when somebody's trying to clean up their body, I give them a reference sheet that makes it real easy. If you're making yourself a salad, what am I going to include? What, maybe just for now, what things can I leave out?
Yeah, yeah. And so if somebody is achy, like, so nutrition is going to be one of those things that we have to address. I think some people, well, more and more people know there's a link between that. Some people might not even realize yet that what they're eating is contributing to their pain. The world that I work with of coaches and therapists, they're well aware of that, although their clients aren't always well aware of that. They're thinking, well, they must have tripped or they must have worked out extra, but they didn't really connect that the food that they ate was inflammatory, and so that they're having to do double duty to get on the other side of it. So nutrition's one thing. What else you were talking about? So cleaning up the diet, keeping it simple, not overwhelming. What else is there?
I would say fear. Most people that are in pain are afraid to do certain things, so they either stop doing them or they're compensating doing them because they're so afraid. And some people, that I'll say, oh, well, do this that you have a problem doing, and I could even say, do you realize you're not even breathing when you do that? Mm-hmm. They're like, oh my God, I'm not.
Yeah. So breathing is important. Getting out of fear. I know you always say get out, you want them to not live in fear, but live in understanding, because sometimes they don't understand about what a healing crisis is. You and I were talking earlier about, like, sometimes the achiness is actually a sign of healing. And they don't always connect. I mean, when people work out and they have sore muscles, sometimes they know that that's a good pain, if they will. Like, sometimes they know that they're breaking down so they can build up, or they kind of have an idea about that, let's say. I might be way off on an analogy, but I'm thinking, like, if you're cleaning out your garage sometimes, or your closet, sometimes it's going to get worse before it gets better. And that if they understand the process, the healing process or the unwinding process, it's fine. But if they don't, that can lead to fight, flight, freeze, freak out, all that kind of stuff when they have that pain. And it's about, yeah, as you say, unwinding it. I know you also talk about, like, tell us a little bit about lymphatics and like fascia. I know those are like two systems that I'm going to say for the most part are very poorly understood out there and often overlooked. I think more and more people are starting to make it, initially that nutrition component that was overlooked for a long time. But these are the other components that often people are missing out. Tell us a little bit about the lymphatics and fascia, and why is that important for people to get out of pain?
Well, the lymphatic system, if we looked at our body with like a sort of an outline with nothing else in it, it would look like there was all these like tree branches, fine and bigger ones, smaller ones, but it's all over. And so the purpose of our lymphatic system is to clear out cellular waste. So if we have cellular waste just sitting there, how do we move it? Because the lymphatics clean it, and they bring it back to bring the heart fresh blood. And so how do we, if we just let it sit in there, we're gonna get worse and worse and worse and worse. So find out what things make the system a little heavier. And say somebody who takes a ton of medications has more going through their body than somebody who takes none. And I'm not against that, but I'm just saying what we put in our body, it has to come out some way. And then with fascia, I think I described to you one time about your fascia is, if you took your whole body, took your skin off and you kind of dipped it in this big bag, and the fascia is this big bag that your whole body is in. It's one piece. And so, the fascia on your head is connected to the fascia in your feet, like plantar fasciitis. Well, guess what? Your fascia might be tight somewhere else and coming up in your shoulder. So just knowing. And also with fascia is people that have had surgery, some kind of scar. We have scar tissue, adhesion, and it kind of sticks to the fascia and kind of puckers it in and grabs onto it. So we're not this free flowing, system. We're being pulled this way or that way. And
Right.
to balance that out and know how. Okay, I'll just use here because you can see me here. If I had a scar here, I could kind of and cross fiber in there, just become aware of what's in, like, wow, I didn't realize that I had all that scar tissue in there. And the body will take care of that if you break it up and nurture it.
Yeah. And then people can get in a cycle. Like if they're in pain, then they're not moving, then they not get the blood flow, and the lymphatic flow becomes more stagnant. And so, and then, and maybe if you're in pain, you're not eating, or maybe you're eating, but comfort food either way, but not really the things that are nourishing. And then people get trapped in this vicious cycle that kind of perpetuates itself.
Yeah. And also people in pain, moods, you can get super depressed if you're always achy.
Yeah.
And so being able to clear that up, you'd be, wow, God, I was in a bad mood all the time. Like, wow, I didn't realize.
And it makes sense. So is understanding this and then your own health journey that you went through, is that what led you to become a health coach?
I had become a health coach before my own body started, got tight. And I mean, there was two instances where I was walking in Disney with my daughters, and my gait, I'm just walking along, and all of a sudden, in the front of my, hip flexor on the right, I was like, oh my God, it froze up almost. And I was walking, I'll say like an old lady. I'm like, this is so not acceptable. And another time I was practically on the top of Mount Schiehallion in Scotland and had hiked all the way up there and wondered, okay, why when I hike all the way up there, am I now achy? And I'm so achy that I have to limp down the mountain. Like, I'm going to die on this mountain. I had my small group, but that was not acceptable either. So even though I was a health coach, I really did not, I understood food, I understood, some mindset, but I did not understand lymphatics and how to really clear the body of, everyone talks about detox, and detox is this big generic word, and I think you have to, but your body's always cleaning itself. So to really, really understand how to do that.
Yeah.
And why it's important.
Yeah, how to support your body in its normal functions. And I remember you saying, like, it was so important that people don't live in fear. But if you're in pain all the time and you don't know how to get out of it, then you're going to be in fear, because you're going to be in fear of the pain's coming back, or it's going to get worse, or where is this going, or all of that kind of thing. So I don't want to use the word natural, but it's not uncommon that people are going to be in that state. But once you got yourself on the other side of it, as you've helped other people get on the other side of it, you're like, it doesn't have to be this way. People don't need to live in fear. And yet you understood why they would be. Completely normal response to what they're going through, but it didn't have to be that way. And you had that, there is a better way. There is a way to get to the root of this and clean it out and help people get out of pain, which I think is so awesome. How do you work with your clients? Like, how does that work? What do you do with them?
I started out working with them in person, one-on-one, and that's how my practice grew. And then eventually I realized, well, if I'm just helping one person at a time, I could help more people understand how their bodies are working. So I started to work virtually, one-on-one, but then also some small group dynamics that helped. There's just something to be said for that.
Yeah.
In learning.
Yeah. And I think you're, and you still do both virtual and in person, but especially for people who are in pain, if they're in pain, it might not be easy for them to just come see you, for example. So it's really nice to have that virtual component, and then also to teach them how to do this for themselves. I know that you're a big believer in empowering them to be able to do that, and like walk them step by step, from pain to pain free, working closely with them, but also giving them the tools so that you're not enabling them. You're not like making them dependent on you. You will help them get out of pain fast. In fact, I saw you here in Canada when you flew here to Kelowna, where I'm at. And I saw you do this work on this woman's head and neck. I don't know exactly what you were doing, but she was loving it. And like, she just transformed literally before my eyes. So I heard of the work you had done, but I'd never seen what you had done. And the way she was looking, everybody was like, I want what she's got. So, and that's where we started, talking about you being Miracle Mary with well, you already had Miracle Mary going on, but the magic hands, and I got to see those. So, but the truth is, what you do is they don't need to necessarily be under your fingertips. You can teach them how to do that for themselves, correct?
Yes, I can teach, for instance, the lymphatics, like self lymph drainage. How do you do that? You need to learn how to do it. And so it's just so helpful when people are empowered and say, wow, even if they were local, oh, I don't see Mary, till next week, but I'm in pain now. How can I make myself feel better?
Right. Yeah. You want people like to have the tools 24/7, wherever they are in the world. That's ideal. So that, and then just knowing that they can do that, they can get themselves out of pain. That helps. That's helpful to prevent the pain in and of itself, because they're not in fear of the pain, because they know what to do. What would you say is the biggest myth when it comes to pain relief that people have?
I would say that there's one magic pill, magic answer, only one. And so that people will, say, for instance, people go to physical therapy. That can be great. They do their 12 weeks. And especially I see older people, and then they no longer qualify for another 12 weeks, or they're done.
Yeah.
And they feel better, but then they go home and they go back into, a month later, they're in pain again.
Right.
And so then they try something else. Or there's people that they just go from one modality to the other, and they don't give their body a chance to turn the corner. They're impatient. They'll go to somebody for 3 weeks. Oh, that didn't work. Let me go here. Let me go here. Let me go here.
Mm-hmm.
And they end up spinning their wheels because they don't understand their body enough
Mm-hmm.
to know what to do. So
yeah, kind of not giving things enough of a chance, because one of those could have been a piece of the puzzle, but then also not looking at it holistically and getting to the root when we might be just addressing a surface thing, and sort of kind of those two things. Why would you say it's important for people to know how to unwind their pain? Why is that important?
It just makes life better. I mean, if you look at your life, what can be affected by, your mood, I say pain is, you're cranky, or you don't feel like doing things, your energy is down, you don't sleep well, your relationships may be strained. And when you're in pain, there's something to be said for, say, in a business or career situation. You walk in a room and you're walking nicely and you have good prana, like they say in yoga. That's much more commanding and confident, and you can get what you want when you're confident. But if you walk in like in pain, you just, it gives the illusion that, oh, this person doesn't really have the energy to do what we need. So maybe we won't make them the manager. They can just be the team or something, whatever your aspirations are. But it makes you feel freer when you don't have pain.
And to be able to,
your face isn't all, sometimes we don't realize, we're gritting our teeth and things like that.
And
stress is the number one killer, that we hold so much stress when we're in pain.
And really to empower rather than enable, to, and then it opens up all sorts of things in their life. What are a couple of tips that you can share? Let's say somebody is listening in and they're like, okay, well, I got pain. So this is all nice, Miracle Mary, but how the heck do I get out of it? And I mean, we don't expect you to get them out of it right at this moment, but what are some things that they could do? What are some tips when they're in pain that can just kind of start them off in that right direction? What can they do? What do you?
Sure. I would say that they're under the category right now off the top of my head, just lifestyle and movements and what you put your body through every day. So you could say, well, what do you do a lot? And somebody could tell me, oh, I'm on the road all day, I'm in sales or whatever. So they could take themselves and sit themselves in their car and just sitting, or driving around your little block or something, just notice your body. Am I leaning on the console? Am I gripping the wheel tight? What is my body doing? The same thing with sitting at a desk. Or you could ask just a friend or family member just to watch you walk down the sidewalk and back, and just say, you notice anything in my body about my gait? I've gone through a whole studies of gait analysis, and you can pick up what's going on with someone just by the way that they walk indicates what muscles might be weak, strong, what they need to focus on as far as alignment and things like that.
Yeah. So basically you're saying, if you're in pain right now, there's some things that you're doing, not your fault, but there's the lifestyle, there's a way of being that's kind of led to this, and it's fostering it and perpetuating it. So the first step is kind of to bring awareness to what's going on. So observe, if you're mainly in your car, or mainly at your desk, or mainly in your bed, or mainly at the dinner table, wherever you are, just observe what you're doing. Close your eyes, do a body scan, notice where you might be out of alignment a little bit, and then and then the other thing I heard you say was watch yourself walking. So have someone else watch you, or look in a mirror, or a
Yeah, or just stand in
there.
front of a mirror and say, "Oh gosh, my right shoulder's right now."
Yeah, just kind of take a moment and
My
like
head's tilted. Or
what seems not aligned, just even in yourself. You can kind of notice this on yourself, and then just really like noticing on how it feels, and like where is your pain coming from, and just bringing awareness to it is that first step, because usually we get so busy and we just kind of stuff it all down, and we're perpetuating it. How am I walking? Am I, my hands, or am I guarded, or am I tensed up? A lot of times when people do that, if you're at I don't know, a meditation or a yoga or something, somebody says, okay, we're like, relax your jaw, or like, oh gosh, I didn't realize it was clenched, but it was, or, let relax your body. And sometimes we're holding tension that we don't even know we're holding. So yeah, and we do have these habits and ways of being that we want to break, because if they're the habits that are perpetuating the pain cycle. So yeah, okay, that's really great. And then of course, we'll get to that at the end. I think you've got some more tips, or a place to get them started anyways on that direction too. So what would you say are some of the secondary benefits or the spin-off benefits that you've seen with your clients once they get out of pain? So that should be enough. That's really what they want. But I can imagine there's a lot more things that they notice that improves. Do you have any examples of other things that, their pain got better, which is great in and of itself, but what other bonus benefits do you see?
I would say their willingness to enjoy things in life, to be able to go on that short hike and say, oh no, that's okay, my hip's been hurting, I'm not going to go. Or relationships, when you're not in pain, you're so much more loving. And especially if people that have gone through my program, they really took the time to understand their body. So now they'll want to project that on others, like, oh, I love myself, I'm gonna
yeah,
be kind and loving. Mood is nice and stable when you're not in pain. There's less fear and less surprise. You don't wake up one day and you can't move, and
yeah,
how fearful is that? But if you wake up and you're stiff, you're like, oh wait, what do I have in my toolbox? And oh yeah, this is something that I did or didn't do. And
yeah.
so
So you're less of a victim of it and more of a, okay, here's what I got, here's what I'm going to do about that, so that you're not like kind of held hostage in your home by the pain. You can actually like kind of go out there with some confidence and actually, plan some fun things, knowing that you'll be good, I'll be good. And that if something flares up or trips up a little bit, you got the tools in your toolkit to get on the other side of it. Super great. You can, and imagine their sleep is better, and their energy is better. Like all of life would be better. As you say, they can actually enjoy life again, which is kind of the point. Well, it's supposed to be the point. Most of us, but it is the point. Well, yeah. Yeah. It's so very powerful. It's everything. It's everything for someone who's in pain. They feel like they've been robbed of their life. So to be able to give people their life back well, that's why they call you Miracle Mary.
And to have a solution other than painkillers.
Yeah.
Because a painkiller is not going to make us realize, we're leaning on our console, or a painkiller is not going to make us realize, we're walking, roundhousing our hip, or whatever that is.
Yeah.
So to understand your body.
Yeah. And like all choices have consequences. And so it's picking the which one will have a consequence that I'm really going to like. So if not only does it relieve the pain at the moment, but it also prevents it in the future, even better, or I have a strategy. So that's great. Well, this has been awesome, Mary. And you know, some of those homes that they say must be seen to be appreciated.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they give you the description, but you're like, you got to go see it. And then you're like, oh, wow, this place is awesome. I really feel like that's you, Mary, because we don't have a person in front of us in pain right at the moment. And so it's kind of like must be experienced to be appreciated, really. And which is why you have so many people, and of all ages, like you have clients in their 90s that, just absolutely like love and want to never leave them, and what you're able to do for their quality of life is phenomenal, really phenomenal. So they can be so active. But of course, you help people of all ages. But it is it's really great the way you meet them where they're at. Some of them are mobile, some of them aren't. Some of them got lots of hang-ups, some of them have none, and just take them wherever they are and move them into that better pain-free. And they're obviously so appreciative of that. How can people connect with you, or like if they have questions or that they want to ask, or they're in pain, or I think you have something that you offer them just as a freebie that they can connect just to kind of get them started. How can people connect with you?
Yeah, the best way would be through my website, unwindmypain.com. And I have a starter kit in there, which is a series of questions that kind of makes you come self-aware, like, oh, gee, maybe I should be reaching out for help. It's not just a passing thought.
Yeah. 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 And you have, like there's like a little diagnostic quiz in there. There's some tools, some things that they can implement right away. Like even like today and this week, there's some little tips in there for them to get started, and a way to reach you, which, if you are able to get a spot on Mary's calendar just to speak with her, I highly recommend it. She's super busy. She's one of the busiest people that I know. And I thank you for taking time with us here, and busy helping people get out of pain, because there's a lot of them. So if you manage to get a chance to get on her calendar and just connect with her, I think you'll start to appreciate what I see. And you won't be disappointed. So that's unwindmypain.com. And it has been an absolute pleasure chatting with you, Mary. I love how you get to the root of things and how you support people, and you go the distance with them with whatever they need. You literally have their back on this, and really partnering with them in every aspect of their lives to really move it from point A to point B, because people just don't know where to begin. They've tried like all sorts of things. By the time they get to you, you're not the first person they're coming to see.
True.
They've usually tried everything else first. So I know that that's why they really, really appreciate all of the we didn't really even get into the depths of. We talked about lymphatics and fascia, but you talk about energy, and we talk about the muscles and all of it, nutrition, gut health. It's all interwoven into this system that gets some really great results. So thank you so much for being here with us and sharing your expertise, Mary.
Oh, you're welcome, Dr. Shaunna. Take care.
All right. With that, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you like this episode, be sure to like and subscribe, and tune in for our next episode. Be good for you.